The Broncos continue their interviews at the NFL Combine, this time flipping their attention over to the running backs. And on this episode of the Broncos Breakdown, welcome in Broncos Country, by the way, my name is Moose, we're going to focus solely on the running backs, namely the three that the Broncos had their formal RB interviews with: Notre Dame's Jadarian Price, Washington's Jonah Coleman, and Nebraska's Emmett Johnson. Let's start with my guy from the University of Notre Dame, Mr. Jadarian Price, who has been linked hard to the Broncos. I have seen 3 mock drafts so far that have linked Jadarian Price to the Denver Broncos at pick number 30. So let's break this down. First things first. I'm a massive Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. I was born with blue and gold in my veins. I have family lineage at Notre Dame as well. So it's not just like I'm a mega fan. No, I am like family ties to the University of Notre Dame. I'm the great-grandson of the legendary head coach, Frank Leahy, who won 4 national championships in the 40s and the 50s with the Fighting Irish, and a former season ticket holder. Had to give that up to the other side of the family, but you know how it goes. So I am a massive Notre Dame fan. That is my team. That leads me to say this. I have watched every snap of Jadarian Price's career. He's the second best back in college football. Coincidentally, the only back that he was worse than was Jeremiah Love at the University of Notre Dame. But Jadarian Price, do not even remotely start to get down in the comment section, because I can smell it from here, where you guys are going to say, oh no, not another Notre Dame running back. Do you remember, Moose, what happened with Audric Estime? Yes, of course. Of course I do. But I'll be the first one to calm your fears. Price is 100 times better than Audric Estime is. Again, I've watched every snap of both of their careers. And even though the numbers for Audric Estime over the career are better than Jadarian Price, there is one glowing fact. Jadarian Price sat behind perhaps one of the greatest running backs in the history of college football, in Jeremiah Love. He did it as an RB2. And Mr. Producer Parker, if you want to go back and put up that player 2 stat comp of their numbers here, I'll just break it down just a little bit. Audric Estime had almost 100 more career carries as an RB1. And yet, Jadarian Price was only, 500 or so, 600 yards shorter than Audric Estime, only 8 less rushing touchdowns, only 0.2 yards less per carry. And by the way, Notre Dame's offensive line has definitely taken a step back since Audric Estime was at a running back, and Jadarian Price and Audric Estime both are not huge receiving backs. But Price is no doubt, in my mind, the second best back in college football. Better than Katron Allen, better than Emmett Johnson, better than Jonah Coleman, better than Nicholas Singleton. You can name any other running back. Jadarian Price is better than all of them except for Jadarian Price. But what makes his game that much better? His acceleration is top-notch. He's also an amazing special teams player, by the way. Returned punts for Notre Dame this last year and had a couple of returns for a touchdown. His field vision is exceptional, elite at the NFL level. Contact balance, I can't tell you how many times he would get hit and maintain his solid ground. And then, of course, his running patience. He's got that J.K. Dobbins patience and field vision ability like you would want from any stereotypical running back. So, if the Broncos should draft Jadarian Price, yes. Type D for draft or type P for pass. I highly encourage you to go watch a 5-minute highlight tape of Jadarian Price and tell me you don't see what I see. He's faster, shiftier, and just an overall better athlete than Audric Estime ever was. Now, coming up, I don't want to just make this Notre Dame show because it's not a Notre Dame channel, but we do have some other running backs to talk about, Emmett Johnson and Jonah Coleman, who, by the way, are also very, very good prospects. I'm very intrigued by the Broncos drafting them, not in round 1, but in rounds 3 or 4. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about my friends over at Harry's, the sponsor of today's video. If you want the very best grooming essential product on the market, Harry's is the one for you. If your old razor dulled way too quickly, if it irritated your neck, and if it cost way too expensive, Harry's Plus is the product for you. It is the heaviest razor handle ever, made from metal, never plastic. It's designed to feel more comfortable and more control in your hand with that luxe feel. But they don't just make razors. They've got a full line of grooming essentials from shave gel to deodorant to body wash, all thoughtfully made and priced up to stock. All of Harry's blades, by the way, and grooming products can be delivered right to your door, so set your preferred schedule and never run out of blades again. For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer, and after you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Please support our show and tell the Moose from the Broncos Breakdown sent you. The two other running backs that you need to know that the Broncos have held formal interviews with are Emmett Johnson from the University of Nebraska and Jonah Coleman from the University of Washington. Let's start with Emmett Johnson. Johnson is kind of like RJ Harvey a little bit. So I don't know that this is necessarily the best fit, but he is a tremendous playmaker. Doesn't have the long downfield speed that you're looking for in an RB1, but what he does is give you versatile scheme fits, which of course Sean Payton loves. Joker, but RJ Harvey's already the Joker. Contact balance exceeds what his 200-pound frame suggests, and his pass protection remains a developmental area. That's another reason why I don't think he's maybe the best fit for the Broncos, but he's an excellent pass-catching back. He's got above-average handles. I mean, some of the best handles in college football are to Emmett Johnson. He forced 68 missed tackles this year. That was 6th best in D1 college football. I mean, he's shifty beyond belief. Same with RJ Harvey. You know, he kind of does remind me of a guy like RJ Harvey. I mean, it would almost be like having two of them. Now, he's not going to be great in between the tackles, which is why I said maybe not the best fit. But he does have a very high explosive run number in the advanced metrics area, tied for 6th with 36 explosive runs, according to PFF. His gap attempts ranked 113, meaning outside of the tackles. That was 7th in college football. And his yards after contact, he had 740 of them, which was 23rd in D1 college football. Here's an interesting statistic, though. For everybody that is like, well, why would we get this guy if he doesn't seem to be nearly as strong as you would like? He is actually very strong. Emmett Johnson was hit behind the line of scrimmage on a class low 33.9%. Nebraska's offensive line was butt booty naked terrible. And when he was hit at the line, behind the line, he actually would gain yardage on 75% of those runs. So that extra ability to fight forward and gain positive yards is a strength of his, even if he does get hit behind the line of scrimmage. And he was the entire offense for the University of Nebraska. I mean, he was first among running backs in percentage of team rushes snaps, 76% of rushing yards, first, 17.7% of receptions, second. I mean, he was the entire package for the University of Nebraska. And I know we got a couple of Nebraska fans that also call themselves Broncos fans, and they know what Emmett Johnson was like. So I would say that this dude is scary good. The only hesitancy that I have with the Broncos is that it's not the stereotypical power bell cow 3-down back that you're looking for. You'd essentially be getting another RJ Harvey. All right, let's talk about a guy who's the opposite of RJ Harvey. This is your bell cow back, Jonah Coleman. 5'9", 228-pound bowling ball from Stockton, California, played at the University of Washington. Outstanding feel for zone blocking schemes. Yes. And Sean went to a more zone blocking scheme. Red zone weapons with 34 career rushing touchdowns. He's got lateral explosiveness, and it sits in the above average range. So that lateral quickness that you're looking for is not nearly as big as what RJ Harvey would have. But he's more down the field and in that red zone goal line packaging with those 34 career touchdowns. And if you just take a look at the numbers, again, not a player that is going to, he averaged 5 yards a carry. That's pretty good. But we're not asking Jonah Coleman to be the guy that averages 7 yards a carry or 8 yards a carry, right? Like he would be your bell cow, early down back, short yardage back to get you the extra yards, someone to complement RJ Harvey very well. And again, the advanced analytics were also pretty kind to Jonah Coleman. Yards after contact per attempt was 3.58 yards per attempt. So after he got hit, he would average an extra 3.5 yards per carry. That's 84th out of all the running backs in the college football landscape. That's above average. Yards per route run, 1.73, was 21st in college football. And missed tackles forced, he had 37, which was tied for 47th. There is one player, by the way, that he reminds me a lot of. Maybe a slower and more powerful version of David Montgomery, who everybody loves. Monty is a great player. Started his career with the Chicago Bears, now with the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, is also up for a trade if you hear the Detroit Lions GM Brad Holmes talk at any time. Here are the final player comps, by the way, to all three of these players, because I know everybody loves a really, really good player comp. Jadarian Price most aptly reminds me of Javonte Williams, but better, if that makes sense. Like he was a better prospect coming out of college than Javonte Williams was. Jonah Coleman reminds me of David Montgomery, like we just talked about. And Emmett Johnson is kind of like a Tajay Spears / RJ Harvey. So complimentary back at this point. So I would probably be a little bit lower on Emmett Johnson with that Tajay Spears comp. Who is your ultimate running back target in the 2026 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comment section down below. Mine is Price, or I like Coleman a lot, but if I'm going to go with a running back in the draft, I'm probably aiming at Price there. You'd have to really do some heavy convincing for me to take anybody else. Coleman or Price for sure. That's all I got. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, like today's video, and Broncos Country, Mile High Salute. Be cool.